My name is Lon Smith. I'm the executive director here at the museum. I've been with the museum a little over a year. June 9th of 2008 was my start date. And in that year, we've pushed very, very hard. Of course, we're primarily a volunteer organization. We have 3 staff members, including myself, which I hope to change very rapidly. But we do have about 150 volunteers that work very, very hard on projects relating to plane restoration, as you've seen, and also building restoration. So it's kind of a 2-track effort. So it's very challenging, but also very rewarding and enriching as well. There was a sort of a committee of people, including Charles Lindbergh in the late 20s, who were making decisions about major air routes. And when they came to Wichita, it was determined that this would be the best site for an airport or an airfield because of its elevation. It's actually the highest point within the Wichita area. So it is very significant because of that connection with Charles Lindbergh. And as a matter of fact, there's a relief on the front of the building that was created by a local artist at that time who was using a process known as cartholite. It's only used in Wichita, and it's a combination of concrete mortar and ground glass. And the ground glass creates the pigment. This particular example of cartholite is the largest one to ever be made. It was cut into 3 sections for relocation here. It's huge, it's beautiful, and it does have pigment, and it's a bas-relief of Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis approaching the coast of Ireland. So it's really beautiful. This was a commercial airport, but also used for military aviation as well. So it's sort of a combination, especially once the war broke out. It took on a much larger role with regard to military aviation. Where we're standing right now, when I came on board, looked like a bomb had gone off. It was just bare plaster that was falling off because of the water leakage during the 10 years of dormancy. And just sort of hangers coming down off the ceiling, and it was a real mess. So we came in with volunteers, we did all the demo work, and we built standoff walls like the one you see behind me. If that wall wasn't there, there were windows there, and it was difficult to make an exhibit space of this. So we built walls about 3 feet out, created a real exhibit space, finished it out, put carpeting down in the areas that there weren't terrazzo. You know, it's turned into a really lovely space and indicative of where we're headed with the balance of the museum. Another project, which we will look at in a second, is the atrium ceiling. This building was built in the Indian art deco style. And as a consequence, the entire ceiling of the atrium was covered with beautiful hand-painted stencils. Those had all been obscured by the Air Force when they came in. They just painted over those. And by the time I came on board, the paint was all peeling and there were just hangers coming down. It looked horrible. So we went up and demoed the whole thing, cleaned it up, repainted the entire surface with 3 coats of concrete primer and then 3 coats of finish paint. Then I went up personally and spent about 10 or 15 hours taking copious measurements of all the original stenciling that was still there, gave those to an architect who created the stencils, the full-scale stencils. We spent another 80 hours cutting the stencils out, and then probably another 200 hours doing the painting we've done so far, and we have another couple hundred hours of painting to do.
Cirrus Design's Vision SJ50 single-engine personal jet offers exceptional fuel efficiency, flexible seating for up to 7, advanced avionics, and all the Cirrus safety features you expect, including the Cirrus airframe parachute system. With its V-tail design, the Cirrus Vision is technologically advanced, yet engineered to be simple to fly, to allow owner pilots more lifestyle pursuits than any other personal aircraft. Learn more about the Vision SJ50 at cirrusdesign.com.
We have an extensive archive that's little known and not as appreciated as it ought to be. It's probably 3 to 4 million records strong, and that includes many of the original drawings of early biplanes and planes that were built right here in Wichita. So we have some amazing archival materials, but one of the things we're proudest of is we actually house the entire collection of original FAA identification cards from 1927 when they began registering planes in America through 1994 when they stopped using hard copy records. So that includes any plane. You know, if you owned a plane at some point in time between 1927 and 1994, it's there. You give us the N number, we'll go in and pull the card right out, and there it is. That includes all of Amelia Earhart's planes, Howard Hughes's planes, the Spirit of St. Louis, every plane. So it's pretty amazing to have that right here in Wichita. The efforts to complete restoration of planes are nothing short of miraculous. With the 150 volunteers we have, the broad base of knowledge about aviation is so incredible, and it makes us able to do restorations that maybe some places they couldn't do from the ground up. We've restored planes, but we've also scratch-built planes from original drawings. So it's pretty incredible, and of course we've done several Stearmans, and most recently one of the big projects we worked on is our B-47. We went down and saved that from being scrapped from down in Oklahoma at the fairgrounds to the tune of about $50,000, brought it up to Wichita. It sat on a ramp in pieces for a couple of years until last year we received another major contribution. This spring we began reassembling it, and of course we had to get cranes in, lift the plane up, put it under cribbing, lift the wings up and put those on, and then do all the work to get it reassembled, and then bring the cranes back and lift it up and put it back on the gear. Huge project. And that's all stuff we do primarily with volunteer labor, so it's pretty amazing.
Integra Release 9 sets a new standard with the easiest to use pilot interface in all of general aviation. Access to any of Release 9's powerful capabilities is simple as pressing the desired bidirectional page key. Pressing the same key in a desired direction navigates through the clearly labeled tabs with no more guessing as to what a given pilot input would do. Avidyne's Integra Release 9 is the next generation in fully integrated flight deck technology, and the easiest to use page and tab user interface is just one of the many benefits designed to make your flying easier and safer.
We have lots of planes outside that really should be inside. I would say that it is an incredibly high priority to get a hangar at this point, because not only is it important for the planes, but also to be able to go ahead and finish the full restoration of this building, we really have to get the full-scale planes out of here and all the restoration activity. So we not only need a hangar, but we need a restoration facility as well. There's so many companies that are unique to Wichita that rose here in the early days of aviation, existed for a few years and fell by the wayside. So anything we can do to preserve that part of the history, it seems like a small thing, it was one company, they built one plane, but in the progression of aviation knowledge, they might have done one thing differently that helped to progress our knowledge about aviation. And then another company said, I see how they did that. We're going to try that too. So it's a rich history, and it's a history that we have to preserve. I mean, it is the history of this town. And anyone who thinks otherwise is not paying attention right now at a time when we have an unemployment rate of 10% in Wichita, and most of those employees that have been laid off are aviation workers. And so, the profound effect of aviation on this community is something we have to recognize and preserve.